Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm T with Teresa H Creates, and I am working on Alice in April. Today is just kind of I don't know if it's really like a tutorial because it's nothing like shockingly new, or if it's just a craft with me. I don't know. You decide. Maybe I'll decide by the end of this video. I don't know. I've been playing around in my craft room though, and I've been creating a lot of pockets and envelopes for all of my tags and journal cards that I have been making. So I'm revisiting these Alice in Wonderland little golden books that I started a year ago, and I want to finish them off. I've got all of the pages in and everything, and I'm starting to add all the little tuck spots and all of that. So I've kind of got them lined out. Let me see. I'm using, this one is a Graphic 45 Alice in Wonderland collection, and on this one, it is a Reminisce Alice in Wonderland paper collection. And this one is Echo Park. It's an Echo Park Alice in Wonderland collection. So let me set these aside. So those are out of the way. And then I have got a ton of tags and journal cards. Look at all of this. Just a ton ready to go. But I need spots for them. I need envelopes, and I need pockets and tuck spots and belly bands and all the good stuff. So I've been working on a lot of stuff here for the last couple of days, and I just wanted to share some stuff with you because I just thought they're fun, and it's been a quick, easy way for me to use up some of my scraps. So I used a lot of these paper collections when I was making those books or putting those signatures together, since some of them didn't have a ton of paper in the collections to begin with. Like this Reminisce, it did not have a lot of paper in that collection. So I wanted to make these cute little, they're almost like the little coin pockets, but without the flap. It's kind of like the style, but I thought they were super cute for holding tags. Just super cute. So, and these aren't decorated yet. I'll get those decorated up at another time. But I wanted to show you what I've been doing with these. So after I made all those signatures, I have all these little bits here, from this 12 by 12 paper, all this little bit. And I thought I can make these. I'm kind of at the mercy of the width of what I have, or the height of what I have left, but at least I've got enough width to do something. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these down. I'm going to leave them. I'm going to trim off the branding strips and then leave them at the height that they are. And it looks like they're at 4 inches. So all of these are at 4 inches, and I'm going to cut them down to 8. So they're going to be 4 by 8. This one as well. And then these two pieces they're a little bit taller. So I think I'm going to leave them taller, just like this one here that I played around with. This one is taller, so I'm going to leave these at their current height, but I'm going to cut them down to 8 in length. So let me make those cuts, and I'll be right back, and we'll start folding. All right, I'm back, and I've got my cuts down. So some of these weren't quite 4 inches. Some of them were a little wider. Some of them were a little shorter, but they were roughly around 4 inches here. And then this one is a little bit taller. I didn't measure it. It looks like it is 5.5, a little over 5.5. And then this one, the paper ended up having some cut aparts on the other side that I actually wanted to keep. So I trimmed it down, and it's much, much smaller than any I've done. So I thought it's just shy 3 inches. So, but I'll give it a shot. So if you're very specific about measurements and you want to know exactly how I was doing this, I was honestly just folding them over. But for those of you who do like to have measurements, I'll go ahead and show you where I was scoring, or give you some score marks. So this, I love this image. I'm not going to get that teacup or the cards, the teapot or cards on the front here, but I do like a little bit of card here, and I like this pattern. So this is going to be my outside pattern. I do want that. So I'm going to put this down on the board. I am going to score, so it's 8 inches. I'm going to score at the 2-inch mark, and then I'm going to score at 5.5. All right, so this will fold over, and then this will fold over. And you want to make sure that you have just enough overlap here that you can actually trim it up. And I'll show you what we're going to do in just a minute. So now that I've got this, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut the little diagonals. And you can go as deep or as shallow as you want. It's just a personal preference. Now I am going to cut from the line out, because if you cut in and you don't quite hit that edge right there, it will create, you know, this will stick up a little bit more. So I like to just go in from here. But like I said, as shallow or as deep as you want. We're going to go pretty deep on this one. There we go. And then I'm going to turn it on the inside and go from this corner out. And let's see, is that roughly, yeah, they look pretty good. Okay, and on this longer edge, I was taking just this trimmer, this little lace punch, this little lace edge. It's like just a border punch. And I was trimming out this little lace border here. I really liked it. So I thought it added a little something to have that little bit of lace border there. On this one, I used a sticker instead of doing a lace border, because I thought that this particular pocket, the pattern, it didn't really look right with the little lace border. So, but you can do anything. You can add a sticker. You can add another piece of paper to create some contrast there on that line. You can use any of your border punches to create some interest there, or you can leave it alone and just have a nice straight line. You can add fabric. Fabric would look great there. Maybe some washi. I don't know why I'm inking up that edge that's going to be covered. So let me get this top inside. That's going to be seen. And let me get both of these top flaps and get this part here. This will be seen. And then just this edge here. All right, here we go. I am going to put a little bit of glue right along this bottom edge here. We're going to close it up and make sure it's all lined up with the bottom. And then use my bone folder to really get that set right. And then here, we're going to go along this entire edge, and then we're going to go up just on the inside close to the lace. I'm not going to mess with trying to glue that whole thing down. I just went right along the edge there. Let's glue that down and then get nice sharp lines with that bone folder. And then I'm going to come back with my Distress. I'm using Distress Oxide tea dye because this is Alice in Wonderland, so it's all going to have the tea dye. Because I'm goofy like that. And there we go. We've got a nice, lovely little pocket. How cute is that? All right, let me set that aside. And then, look, I've already got some coming up. All right. The rest of these are about the same. I'll do the taller pocket, and then I'll do the shorter pocket just so we can see what that looks like. Where are my papers? I think they are hidden here. Yep. Look at this. That rose is going to be absolutely gorgeous. I think I might put this magnolia on the outside. I think I'm going to. Let's go ahead and try this one. Because this is shorter and I haven't really done it before, at this height, I'm going to go ahead and use my scoreboard. So we're going to go 2 and 5.5. Let's go ahead and bring this in. All right. And then again, we're going to trim. I'm not going to trim as deep as I did the other one just because it's doesn't have quite the same height. It looks like I can go a little bit more on this side. How cute is that? Okay, and then I am going to use the lace border punch on this one because I think it really has that delicate kind of look to it. This paper. All right, and let's ink this guy up. I got a brand new foam for this because my other one was already getting torn up. So I'm having to really get that ink saturated on there again. All right. And then again. How cute are these? And it's a great way to use up all those scraps that you have left over to make all these little coordinating pockets and things. Trying to clean up as I go along. What? That is totally not me. All right. Let's get all of these edges. Cute. Okay. And then one more. We'll do this guy. Oh, that is so pretty, but you're not going to see much of it. So I'm going to do this side. And this time I am not going to use my scoring tool. I am just going to fold it and we're going to eyeball it and pretend I don't have a crooked eyeball and get this done. And so I am just kind of giving it a nudge to where I think it should be. And I'm kind of using my grid here, but you don't even have to do that much. So there, I'm like roughly that was it. I'm actually going to cut this one a little deeper because it's so tall. Let's see. Do we want to do a little bit more? I'm going to go a little bit deeper just because it is so tall. And let's just see what that looks like. There we go. How pretty is that? Now, did I leave enough room? I did. So I can come in here. And again, you could add lace or fabric bits or washi tape along that edge. You can leave that edge as is. Any of those options. All right, let's get it inked up. And we'll go along this top line. This is what I've been doing for several days. It's been a lot of fun. It has been such a mess. The cleaning that I had to do to get to this point was incredible, so that I wasn't embarrassed to come on here and show you what I've been working on. I had quite the mess going on. We always start with these nice big spaces, right? And then we end up working our way down to like a, you know, card size, like a 6x6 or a 5x5 area that you're kind of working in. It's just the way it goes. Are you guys like me, or do you have to keep it all neat, or are you just really messy and there's stuff everywhere? And the thing is I was working on a lot of these different pockets and I was a little bit ADD about it, and I was kind of here and there, and I had bits and pieces, and I would be folding and tucking, and then I was like, oh, now I've got to try this. And I was moving on, and so things were just half done. It was a mess. It was a mess. Okay. Now, the part that I really like, so these guys I'll do off camera because now you've already got the idea what that looks like. So I'll do those off camera, but I'll have a lot of pockets. Let me see. This one is nice and decorated. Look at this little sticker I've added here. This one has a little sticker label with the roses. This one has the little washi, I mean, not the washi, the sticker here. And these have not been decorated, so let's do that. I have got sticker sheets that I think would look really cute. Okay. I think I liked the blue sticker, or the blue butterfly for here. That is cute. And then let's see here. I kind of like this here. She fell asleep and got lost in Wonderland. I'm gonna ink up this edge a little bit. Normally I would do this with my reverse tweezers, but that's large enough that I could do it on its own. Okay, really cute. Now these are scraps that I had from a different collection that wasn't part of these three. It was just a smaller collection. It was that, it was Curious. I don't know. It was called Enchanted Tea Party. It was like Curious Couture or something. Here, let me see. It's here. Enchanted Tea Party Collection by Couture Creations. That's what it was. So I just had a minimal amount of scrap on that one, so that I decided to kind of work it into these others. So let's see. I've got all of these stickers here. I went absolutely sticker crazy, seriously. So now I have all of these stickers that I've got to use. And let's see if we can come up with something to put on these. I like this. And what if we, that is on the wrong side, but what if we put her right here like this? I think that that is cute. So let's do that. Let me get her peeled off. I struggle with stickers. There we go. How pretty is that? Okay. And then next, we've got these beautiful hearts here. We may not even need anything on this one. It's so pretty the way it is. It's got quite a lot going on anyway. I mean, do we want to add? What if we added something like that right there? This has that bit of purple. So many stamps and stickers here. I think that little guy looks cute there. How about this? Let's put that there. And it'll cover up some of that lace border, but that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. I don't want to cover up those hearts. We can put this guy here. There we go. We only need a little something there. So many stickers. I'm telling you, I went overboard. I was ordering stickers from everywhere. So there's this guy. He's a little bit bigger. We're going to do it. It's cute. This is the little mouse in the teacup. Cute. Look at that. Aren't those adorable? Just the cutest. Okay. So that was it for my little pockets. I'll do the rest of those off camera. Let me put these back in here to keep them all together. And then we'll show you, or I'll pull out the stuff for the next project and show you what else I've been working on. All right, here is the next project. I was working on these guys, these little pockets. So again, I'm using up scraps and odd sheets of paper. Look at these. Aren't they cute? And there are a couple of different ways of doing these guys. So these little pockets, and again, you can load them up with your journaling cards and your tags and just load them full of goodies. So let me show you the different ways that I did this. All right, so again, I'm using scraps. So these are all different sizes. None of them are the same. So I wanted to use this as my background. And what I've been doing, because the back side is non-directional, I was folding this up, right? And I was just finding a spot where I wanted to have it, you know, come to an end where it still left a decent pocket, but we were still getting most of that image up at the top there. On this one with the pictures, it's a little bit more important to kind of get that image there and get it, you know, lined up just right than it was with some of the others. Okay, so now that I've got that folded up, what I was doing next is taking off about 1/4 of an inch all the way down. Now I was going to my trimmer and taking off about 1/4 of an inch all the way down, but here, because it's got this border on it, I'm just going to cut it. So I'm cutting all the way down to that fold line. And I'm going to do it here on this side also. I'm just going to cut all the way down to that fold line, and then I'm going to cut in. So we're going to remove that piece. All right. So now I can fold these over. On the back side here, and I've created a little pocket. Now, there are several ways that you can attach this, and I tried both ways, and both of them had good results. I am going to go ahead and miter these little corners off just because I like doing that. I think it just gives it a nice, cleaner look. Let me get in here. There we go. It's just a nice, cleaner look. There are a couple of ways that I did this. Some of them I wrapped around. Let me find, okay. Some of them I wrapped around, like you can see here, and glued it on. And it still gives me a lot of room in this pocket. And then others, I folded it in and then glued it on the inside. So it created kind of a gusset. And then it gives you a little bit more room in the pocket here. So it's really just what you want, what you prefer. That's really all that matters. And then some of these, I left them plain across the top. I left them straight and just added little details, little borders to the top here, or left them that way. Or in some of them, I put little notches in them. This one, I'm going to go ahead and notch. So again, it's just a personal preference, but it's a good way to use up a lot of that paper scrap, you know, to make some coordinating ephemera. Nothing earth-shattering. I'm going to go ahead and trim off this bit of border. And then I am going to round these corners. And then we'll go ahead and ink it up. Still working on getting this little inker saturated again, so I'm not having to go back and reload it as much. I think that I'm going to go ahead and glue them on the inside and create that little gusset. I'm going to hold it for just a minute, pressing down, make sure it's got a nice, good adhesion there. You can even take your bone folder, get it nice and smooshed, and now you see how it kind of folds out to create that pocket. You'll have more room to put stuff in this way. And again, I'm sure none of this is new. None of it's new. I was just playing around with the scraps and odds and ends and bits that I had here, and I thought, oh, we'll do a little share, a little play along. All right. Now, what do you do if you don't have a nice, you know, non-directional backing so that you can fold them up like this? This guy was cut aparts on the back, and so I put a large enough sticker just to hide the fact that it's upside down here. But here's another method that you can use. So I cut this one down. So this one, again, it has the directional papers on the background, and I didn't want to use them again. So I cut them down to the size that I wanted. I'm going to round these corners. And then this here was a bit of scrap that I had. You can still see it's got the little border on it. So what I'm going to do is figure out, I kind of like this. I do. So I'm going to use this darker pattern with the queen here on this. So let me put it down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold up the bottom. Yes. And then I'm going to fold up each side. So this is also a good way to use up some of your scrap. And then you can make these pockets and not have to worry about having non-directional paper. Now that I've got this, I'm going to go in and I'm going to miter all these little corners. And then this one as well. There we go. I am going to go ahead and put a notch in here just to break up this little image a little bit. Go ahead and get this inked up. Not that you can see it on that black, but I know whether or not I did it, and that's what matters. Okay. I'm going to turn this over and fit him right back in there. I'll put glue down those sides. And here as well. And now we've created the same type of pocket out of 2 different scrap pieces. I'm going to flip it over, go ahead and give it a good inking. And again, there's not really any measurements I can give you other than you want to make sure that it doesn't exceed the width or the height of your book, you know, your junk journal. Other than that, it can be any size. And as you can tell, all of these are different sizes. So I was literally just using up the scraps. All right, now let's find images for this. What if we do, it's always tea time. Put that there. Let's go to our stickers here. Gotta have something. We're all mad here. If I put her right up there. That's kind of a fun little surprise, right? If you're pulling out all your ephemera and you see her up there. I think that's fun. We'll do that. We will do that. Let me get all of this back in. I gotta find a better system for this. It's great for storage. It's not great for needing to access it, right? Okay. Okay. Get all of this back in here. Again. Okay. Let's peel this off. I struggle with stickers. I haven't been putting glue on behind these stickers, just these larger chipboard kind of stickers, because these have been really, really tacky, and because they are so thin, I think that the glue would show through, but they're also extremely strong. So hopefully those stick down pretty well, but there we go. So there are our pockets. Aren't they adorable? So let's set that aside. All right, I was also doing, along the same lines, I was also creating these little guys. How fun are these? Right? And I think that the insides of these are light enough that you could take a black pen and write in them. So they're good still for journaling spots. And this little admit one with the little characters on top. So I made a couple of these, and here's the school of thought on this. So I made some of these little coordinating pockets out of some of the glassine paper. That's that Tim Holtz glassine paper, and they mimic this. They're wider, they're bigger, but they mimic this right here. But they were wide and big enough for me to put these guys into, right? So I can have this guy in here, and then you've got the nice front and back. Look at this. Nice writing spots, right? And you can put other ephemera in there. So I like the look of this. However, I also created a couple of them. Where is it? Okay, like this, that have the little notch here. So the thought on this is that instead of having a pocket to slip this into, you would actually adhere it directly to the page, right? But you would only adhere it right here in these three corners, and it would still be used as a spot for tucking journal cards or tags, right? So that was kind of what I was thinking on these. But look at that. Isn't that adorable? So these little pockets here are done. I think I may need to add something to this, but I think this guy looks great with it. And I think that this would make a good one notched. I think that this one actually probably needs a pocket. But let me go ahead and show you. Again, just like with the other, these glassine these glassine papers, they're kind of thin, but you can make the pockets themselves as tall or as short as you want. Right? Is that lined up? Okay. Now let me show you with a paper trimmer how I was doing these guys. So now that I've got it folded, I was taking it in here, taking it to the 1/4 inch. And then just kind of going as far down as I could without cutting it all the way to the edge. Without slicing through it all the way. So let's go from here. And I was just coming down as close as I could to that fold without cutting all the way through, right? And then you take your scissors, just like how we were building the other pockets. Come down and then trim here. So same type of pocket building as the others. I like, though, that you can kind of see through them. Plus, I just like the glassine paper, and it was kind of breaking up all the colors and grounding a little bit. So same thing here. We're going to miter. And I didn't know how the adhesive was going to show through on the glassine, if it was kind of like it would with vellum and you would end up seeing it. So I folded it over and put it on here. So there were several layers between the actual glue and the glassine, the front of the glassine pocket, so that if it did show through, it wasn't going to be as visible. So I did go ahead and fold these, all of them, on the back side. All right, as far as trimming the corners of these, I've been taking out my tags because I do like a rounded corner. I've been taking out my tags and I've been trimming up the edges using the tags. If you use a nice stiff surface behind the glassine or vellum or thin paper, whatever thin paper you might be using, and you put a stiffer, you know, surface under there with it or substrate, then it will also cut really well. Because if I tried to just cut that glassine bag by itself, this would not be having it. It'd be a bit of a mess. All right. Let's see. Got this little border already. I could put on here. Let me trim this. Do I want to? No, actually, I'm going to leave it long, and then I'm going to just put something in there. I think that's what we'll do. Let me ink it up, though. Or do I want to do that side? I want to do that side. So you could probably use this same method and make a vellum pocket. All right. Let me glue this. Put it down, make sure I'm right on that edge. All right, let's flip it over and trim it up. Go back in with my ink. All right. And on this guy, so again, I just want to make it so that it fits in these pockets. So, and I'm making them with scrap sheets. So I've been doing, let's see, roughly 5 in height. And then I think it's like 8.5, 7.5. It's about 7.5. And the reason why is because I've taken off about a 1/2 inch there. So again, I've just been eyeballing. If you want to use your scoreboard, that's perfectly fine to go ahead and score. But I've been eyeballing everything. All right. I'm going to round these corners. I liked having a little bit of that pattern on the inside peeking out. I just thought it was a nice touch. All right, let me ink up these edges. And on this one, you want to make sure you get inside and outside edges because it will be opened for writing or storing items. All right, and I did use my Well-Tell tab to go ahead and punch out with some more scrap these little tabs to put at the top of these. And then in those stickers, I had all these really cute admit one with the fold line and then the image. And so I used one on all of these but one, I think. So I was taking it down just partially, putting it right on the line. And then if you fold it, there we go. How cute is that? And it'll slip right into that pocket. Perfect, right? So this one I didn't think I was going to do a pocket for. So I'm actually going to just attach it to a page. So I'm going to cut a little notch there. So these two I'll actually attach to a page. They've got little notches on them. This one I don't want to notch and attach to a page because I love the way this looks on the back. So I'll probably slip this into a belly band or something. I'll find something else to put that in. And then these guys all kind of coordinate with their little labels and stuff. So those pockets will just be attached to pages. But let's go ahead and decorate these two. They need a little something. So back to the stickers. How about this one? Sigh, it's always tea time. Cute, cute. And then I still think that this needs something. Put a little tea time. That's cute. And that one I will use glue on because it is going down on that fabric. So it's definitely going to need a little something extra to keep it down. All right. All of these back in here for the 40th time. Okay. I'm going to ink up these edges a little bit. Aren't these fun? So many variations, and I've been using up so many of my scraps, which is good, because I didn't have, like, the Reminisce collection didn't have any cut aparts. It does have a sticker sheet, but it just had a few of the 12 by 12 pages. It wasn't a huge collection, and then it had the sticker sheet, and it didn't have any cut aparts, so there aren't any cut aparts, and I'm having to create everything for it. So it was nice to be able to do stuff where I incorporated all the scraps from that collection that were left so that I was able to, create coordinating ephemera. Okay, that was unnecessarily difficult. A little glue. And then pop it down. Tea time. Very cute. And I attached that lace at the top up here with Fabri-Tac. You can still see like the little shiny. I only attached it there, so the rest of it's loose. So look at these guys. Aren't they super, super cute? Okay, let's set those aside. Last but not least is another little thing that I'm working on. Okay, so I got some Alice in Wonderland ephemera, and I think it came in, I believe that this came in an Etsy kit, right? And I've never seen a pocket like this. I probably have just been living under a rock, but I haven't seen this. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can duplicate this. So after 1,000 times of folding and unfolding, because this is stuck pretty good. So I didn't want to rip it apart because I really like it. I was able to, I think, successfully sort of duplicate this. So I wanted to show you guys. So first of all, you need a square piece of paper. So I was using this Alice in Wonderland, these extra sheets that I pulled out of the altered book that I'm working on. And I trimmed them down so that it was all, I think it's 6 by 6. I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5. So it's 6.5 by 6.5. It just needs to be square. And then I was kind of moving them around to see where I could get like the most wording. I think we'll go here. So you're not always going to get those images. You might lose those, but you kind of fold it around. So we're going to meet at the top, right? Okay. Then I am going to fold down to the bottom. Yeah. Okay. And then I am going to fold in. And then I'm going to the other side. And I'm going to fold in here. You want to make sure that you kind of match them up. Yeah. Okay. Now, see what I'm saying? So it's a little bit oblong because this one needs to come in just a little bit more. And again, if you wanted to measure rather than, so see now it looks more even. If you wanted to actually measure that, you could. I was just playing around and trying to fold. So yeah, I wasn't doing any measuring other than the size of paper I started with. So again, the size that I started with was 6.5 by 6.5. So actually it's this side. So if you wanted to get a larger pocket, or a larger pocket, or you wanted to get a smaller, well, it's an envelope. If you wanted to get a smaller one, then you would scale up or down the size of paper. And then that way you could get a larger or smaller envelope. Okay. Now, let's see. Hopefully I do this all right. So we're going to fold this down. And the way I was doing it to start off with was I was just folding these over and gluing them down, like gluing one edge down, gluing one edge down. And then I realized, no, look, they actually put this inside. So then I had it right. I figured it out. This one was edged down. Okay. See? So we're going to feed this end into here. So it wasn't just fold one corner, fold another corner. Although that still worked. And because I put, ephemera on it, little stickers and things, you really couldn't see. So if you wanted to do that, you totally could. You don't have to put one inside the other. You don't have to tuck them. But anyhow. Okay, let me put that back in there now that it's all inked. It's got a good feel. Okay, and then I glued mine down. They didn't glue theirs, but I glued mine. So let's see. I had them in here. So I held this up a little bit and I just did a thin layer right at the bottom here. Right? I'm going to hold that down. And then I did a thin layer inside here. I mean, just like real thin right at the top. I didn't glue down the entire page. And then again in here. Now, if you wanted to leave those open, you totally could. It was just a preference. So that's it. That was that pocket. Isn't that cute? Isn't that stinking cute? Okay. Oh, let me ink this up. And again, because this is book page, it's not very sturdy. So if I tried to do a corner rounding at the top here, it would not work. So I'm using my tags. And then there we go. We got a nice rounded corner. All right, let me ink up the rest of these edges. Okay, so what are these good for? What are they good for, you ask? Okay, so I have smaller journal cards. Look at this. Look at all these little cards. Watch. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How cute. How stinking cute is that? And I've got all these little bitty tags. I mean, hello. It's cute and you can just load it. So that's what I'm saying. You can make it bigger. You can make it smaller. You can load it full of stuff, and then how much of a treat is that? You could put stickers in here. You could put stickers here. So as you're taking them out and removing them, or even stamped images if you wanted to do that. And that way, as you're removing them, you get little surprises here and there. So let's see. These are decorated. I haven't added anything to these. So let's go to the stickers once again, and we'll find something. This guy is adorable, but we don't want to cover up. But he's cute there. He's really cute there. So let's do it. Cute. Okay. So we're looking for the smaller bits. The smaller stickers. It's really cute. Sit over there nicely too. How about that? Cute. So depending on what kind of sticker you put on there and what colors you put on there, it really determines the tone of your ephemera. So we can make them vintage, or we can make them light and bright with a little bit more whimsical stickers. Oops. And I have some small stamp sets. And in that small stamp set, I went to my packing paper and I just did a bunch of these little small stamps. And I wonder if I have any. There's delightful. What if we did that? Delightful, and then this little guy, and then I did We're All Mad here, or inside here. Might be too big. Looks like it's probably too big. I'll save it for something else though, because I love that. I love it. Okay. But I think I am going to put Delightful in here. How cute. Okay. Let's see what's on my sticker sheets. Oh, look. What if we did this way? That's cute. All right. And then here we're going to state the obvious. All right. How cute is that though? Let me put all of this up and then we'll take a look at everything. Okay, let's clear some of this off and bring out all of the projects, bring them all back out. So we've got these adorable little pockets here. And I'll use the one that I got in the little bag, in the little collection. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we have these guys, these glassine pockets and the little folios in them. And then some other little folios. And then we've got these pockets for tags and journal cards. Little mini pocket. And then we have these wonderful pockets, a different style, for more ephemera. So what? Less than an hour, about an hour, a little bit less than an hour. And I've shown you how to do 4 different pockets / envelopes for holding ephemera, and showed you several ways to do a couple of these. So hopefully, you know, you learned something. And honestly, once I was working these, you saw, once I got in here and was working these and was actually doing them, they make very, very quickly. I mean, if I was able to show you how to do 4 of these in under an hour, then you can definitely sit and make a ton of them in that amount of time. Once you've got the hang of it, you could just pop out tons of these. I mean, honestly, what was the hardest? The hardest part of all of this was getting the backing off the stickers. I mean, seriously challenged with that. All right. So I really hope that maybe you learned something new. And if not, maybe you were reminded about something that you've done in the past, or maybe you're just inspired to pull out your scraps and bulk make some ephemera to have in your stash for the next time you sit down to put together your junk journal. All right, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments section. I'll be sure to reply. And until next time, bye.